Sir,
Yes.
sir, next Thursday, you are keeping the test in class hours, right?
Yes.
Can you delay the time by 15 minutes, like both ways, like for 1 hour? Maybe if you are keeping test for 1 hour, can you start it by 12:15 and then end it by 1:15? Because there is a class prior to this, and sir
Yes.
might take time leaving us.
Okay. Okay. So, but I will try to keep it 45 minutes. Anyways, I can start little late. Let's start at 12:15 then. It's okay. Okay. So,
I had a
uh,
small question.
you have, sorry?
Sir, will the
Yes.
will the test be objective or will there be some subjective answers which we'll have to type?
Today?
Yes, sir. Today's test.
Yes. There are subjective questions also. So, out of 40 marks, I can say around 20 marks you will have subjective. But those, please be tried means point wise. Don't you don't have to write a lot of things. To the point, you need to answer. Okay. So, like if it is carrying, mostly it will carry 1 or 2 marks. There is one numerical which is carrying a little bit higher mark. So for the numerical, you don't have to submit any steps. I have mentioned clearly on the question. You do those all those steps and everything on your pen and paper. And what I'm interested is the final answer. Okay. So that is one thing. And for the other subjective type question, be precise to the point. Answer is what I'm looking for. Don't have to write a lot of story in that. Okay. So with that, the time will be sufficient. If you don't write a lot of things, I think
Sir,
then the time will be sufficient.
sir, what's the
My
total time?
I've actually hurt my right hand really badly because of some work that's going on at home. So I did not know if I will be able to type and stuff. That's why.
Okay, so that is a different thing to.
But that's something
I
just
think it is. Yes. So try to focus on this objective type. Whatever you can do. Then, as I have said, there will be more test perhaps. So if you don't do good in this one, you can try to do better in the subsequent ones. Okay.
perhaps I
Sorry
can
about this, Aditya.
command my family to type out. I'll dictate. Is that okay?
You can dictate. You can dictate to someone, and can if someone can help you in typing, that can be
That's
done
really.
at your end.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes. Another question, Arsajit. Are you speaking something?
Sir, what's the total time for the test?
55 minutes.
Okay.
Less than 5 minutes. Less than 1 hour. Okay. Okay. So this is the third chapter, and this will complete our discussion about the atmosphere. So this chapter is air pollutant dispersion. Like already I have given a brief overview about this topic, like why we need to focus on air pollutant in this particular course. Because you see that aerodynamically, when the subject itself is telling that it's industrial aerodynamics, so we also need to focus the industrial the byproducts of the industry in terms of like how it can affect the aerodynamic performance. Okay. Not necessarily with respect to the aircraft or the on-road vehicles, but it is also related to the human comfort. Okay. If people are living nearby your industrial setting, so due to the different sort of we will see that subsequently, due to the aerodynamic wind pattern. Okay, the pollutants can dispersed to certain extent. If it can be released in an appropriate manner, it will not harm to the resident or the people living around the industry. But if it is not done properly, then it might create severe health issues. Okay, so that's why this is kind of related topic to the industrial aerodynamics. So maybe 2 or 3 classes we will spend on this, and then we will move on to the energy harvesting, wind energy harvesting, and the other principles. Yes.
Sir, like only generally, I wanted to ask, like, like what factors decide that where any industry is accomplished? Like, is it decided by the government or
See, most of the cases based on the natural resources where it is available, the industries they go there, and it is sometime it happens that people also live nearby that location, and most of the conflict between industrial people and the local people happens because there are local residents who doesn't want to vacate that particular place. But in the setting up an industry far away from the natural resource is also not beneficial to the industry as well, because the transportation, logistic, other things also come into picture. So mostly the industrialists, they try to set up the factories and all where the natural resource is there, and by chance if it is a city is developed in and around it, okay, or there are local people living around that, then that might create a issue to the residents of that locality.
so like
So
I actually asked because in my city there are three industries and it's only a
okay,
small city. So I just
yes.
wanted to know.
Yeah, actually, I come from also one industrial belt. Like, if you have you heard about SEL, Steel Authority of India Limited. So in my place, Rourkela, also they have a steel plant. But the reason is there are nearby you have steel or the iron ores available. So that's why they have built there. But we face certain kind of difficulties like. These are associated thing like with the steel industry you get a lot of dust, iron particles. Coal industries you will get coal dust, like if you go to Dhanbad and other coal belt, so there you face. So based on those aspects, how we can avoid up to the extent so that the people don't get affected, those will be overall discussion of this particular chapter. Okay, but in general, the locality where people are living, there should not be industry, but there is other thing cannot be done if the resources are available there. Okay. Okay. So today I'll be discussing very briefly, or sorry, mostly on the air pollutants. So what do we see? So which is like already most of you are familiar with this thing. Let's just overview and which is also is necessary thing to know what is actually the air pollution or pollutant that we need to handle subsequently, right? So let's be aware of those things. So air pollution, it basically is a term like all of you are hearing mostly these days. Like this generation is mostly facing air pollution issue because of population density increase, then on-road vehicles are larger and the industrialization is happening. So there are many things which are contributing to the air pollution. So what is the definition of air pollution? Air pollution is when you are mixing some gases or toxic gases like emission of the gases, chemicals, particulate matter into the atmosphere. Okay, so basically you're polluting the atmosphere with this sort of materials. So that's why it is called air pollution. If you're polluting water, then that will be water pollution. Okay, so we are just looking for the atmosphere wise, so we're focusing up to air only. Okay, so air pollution primarily it appears like all of you know because of the fossil fuel burning. Apart from that, there are natural resources or natural cause of air pollution like volcanic eruption and pollen grains or this sort of storm in a summer day or in a dusty area. If you have high wind, that also causes the pollution. Okay, because in that case the particulate matters get suspended in air and that can stay for maybe a couple of hours and couple of days. That you can consider as a polluted condition. Okay. So primarily it is caused by burning of the fossil fuel like natural gases, petroleum, coals, and as well as during mining processing of the raw materials. All right. So there are two different type of pollutants. You can categorize them based on based on their reactive nature with the atmosphere or how they are released to the atmosphere. So primary pollutants are those pollutants which are directly released to the atmosphere and they are pollutant. Okay, so for example, fire, volcanic eruption, there you see that mostly the chemicals those are released to the atmosphere are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide. So these are emitted directly to the atmosphere and which can cause harm to the people and as well as to the environment. Okay, so that's why they are called primary pollutant. What about the secondary pollutant? Secondary pollutant is are those pollutant which are produced after reaction with this primary pollutant. When you see that these primary pollutants are available in the atmosphere, they can react with the water vapor there or hydrocarbons or in another way, like due to the solar radiation heat received, so they can change to some other compound like sulfuric oxide or this one is nitric acid, ozone. Okay, so if this primary pollutant reacts with the atmosphere and cause some other type of compounds which are also harmful, then that will be called as your secondary pollutant. Okay, so in this picture it is clearly mentioned here, like there are different sources of your air pollution. One is your natural pollution, which is already I have said, and there are stationary pollution creating agent and your mobile pollution creating agent. I think we'll come to that separately. And these are your primary list of primary pollutant, and these are list of your secondary pollutant which are generated after reaction with the primary pollutant with the atmosphere. Okay. So major sources of primary pollutant, like I have said, there are three major sources. One is your stationary source, the other one is your mobile source, then the third one is your natural source. Okay, so the stationary source and mobile source, these are man-made. Okay, so these are man-made. Mostly stationary source include your mine processing industries. Okay, and your power plants. Burning wood, so all those where you are having the pollutant or creating the pollution at a particular location, it's a stationary source. Okay, stationary source, then that will be considered as stationary source for the air pollutant creation. Okay, the other one will be a mobile source where you are moving in the atmosphere. Like for example, when you're driving vehicles, okay, we are burning fuel from and also transporting the pollutant from one location to the other location. Okay, so on-road vehicles, highway vehicles, similarly your off-highway vehicles like aircraft and for example boats in water medium also, they release the exhaust gases, and farm equipments. So both these are mobile sources. Since you are traveling as well as you are releasing the pollutant to the atmosphere. Okay, so that's why they are mobile sources. The third category is your natural sources, which is not man-made. So third category in this, you can see that basically you have natural pollutant like fog, mist, then ozone, which is naturally created, not by the man-made, then soot, ash, and salt spray, volcanic eruption, and combustion gases, which are occurring due to the natural processes. Okay. One of the dangerous one is radon. I think some of you might have heard. This is a radioactive gas which is released at certain location or at certain location in the earth, and those are coming from the earth core. Okay, so these are radioactive gases and can be very dangerous to the people. Okay, and sometimes they can mix with fog or other water vapor and can create severe damage. Okay, so there are other things like ozone. Ozone is beneficial when it is in the stratosphere, when it is higher in the atmosphere, but if it is created in the troposphere or where we are living, then it may be dangerous because it can cause various health issues. For example, like you can think about breathing problem, as well as it can damage to the plants. Like if you can see some plants, the leaves turn white. Okay, instead of green, if it is white, then possibly it is caused due to the higher ozone density in that particular location. Okay, so and with that the photosynthesis will not be appropriate for the tree growth of the tree. So that caused again some damages to the plants. Okay. Other source of natural pollutant is a volcanic eruption. Like you know that when volcanic eruption happens, there are various toxic gases also erupt, like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and other polluting gases that mixes with the atmosphere and can cause severe damage to the environment. Okay, as well as the sunlight and lower temperature, those are consequence, like reduced sunlight and lower temperature when there is volcanic eruption. Any of you have seen a real volcanic eruption? Not in the movies, but any of you have traveled in location where we have active volcanoes? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, so there are few locations, like in Indonesia. I have been there once. Like it is active, but it is not erupting any of this dangerous thing. There were like only you can say the steam is coming out, or maybe carbon dioxide or a little bit carbon monoxide. But it is a very I will not say beautiful sight, because where there are volcanic eruption happens, so you can see that volcanoes are there, but in and around there is no agricultural land. Okay, there is no possibilities of any cultivation. Okay, so but it's a good site to see if you get chance. Try to visit active volcanoes which are not dangerous. Okay, so I need to mention that. Then the major air pollutants, like already you are aware of these things. So there are, I will not go through all of them, few important ones, the carbon dioxide or carbon oxide in general, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. These are two major pollutant which we see or we talk about this thing mostly nowadays because of the global warming. Okay, so you know that carbon dioxide is mostly responsible for greenhouse effect, which I will come subsequently, because it absorbs the solar radiation. Okay, similarly carbon monoxide is more dangerous than carbon dioxide because it is colorless, odorless. That is okay, like similar to your carbon dioxide, colorless, odorless, non-irritating, but it's a poisonous gas. Okay, why it is dangerous? Because it has or the blood has affinity towards carbon monoxide. So if in a particular location carbon monoxide content is high, your red blood cell will pick up this carbon monoxide instead of oxygen. Okay, and you will not know that you are actually breathing this carbon monoxide, and also you will not be aware that your body is gradually not having sufficient amount of oxygen. Okay, so it's a kind of slow poison. If you encounter this situation, this is very dangerous. You will not know what is happening. Okay, carbon monoxide is more dangerous than carbon dioxide, and because red blood cell is attracted towards this carbon monoxide. Okay, so we should try to avoid its formation. Like it happens because of the atmospheric oxidation of the methane gas and other hydrocarbon, and the sources are like vehicle emission, industrial emission, biomass burning, and natural resources also, natural biomass burning. From these sources it basically appear. Okay, then the next one is nitrogen oxides, which is otherwise called as NOx. So there are various oxides like nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide. These are two components which contributes mostly to the atmospheric pollution. And this is how it is formed when there is a high temperature combustion. Okay, so irrespective of any fuel, whatever fuel you are using, petrol, diesel, or any coal, irrespective of any fuel, when there is high temperature combustion, the nitrogen in the atmosphere gets oxidized. Okay, so it gets oxidized to nitric oxide or your nitrogen dioxide. Okay, so sometimes this nitrogen nitric oxide that mix with ozone, okay, with a high temperature. If you have this reaction is at a high temperature and it produces nitrogen dioxide. Okay, so once nitrogen dioxide is formed, it has a chain. It can perform a chain of reaction, and there could be several different type of compounds can be formed, like including nitric acid, and this nitrogen oxide itself is quite dangerous. Okay, because it is the main cause of your smoke. Okay, photochemical smoke. If you have, we are aware of this thing. This is mostly happening in bigger cities, including Delhi and Kolkata, Mumbai. All metro cities we are facing this. So the primary cause of this smoke is this nitric oxide. Okay, so a high temperature reaction between nitric oxide and ozone can cause nitrogen dioxide, and that is the cause of the smoke. Okay, that we see commonly in the winter days. Okay, so we should try to avoid to have those high temperature combustions. Like mainly this happens where we have when you're using or burning the fossil fuel or driving the vehicles. Okay, so on-road vehicles or from the industrial emission. So that should be restricted. Okay, then the next one is your sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxide, again, it is colorless, odorless. This is main constituent for your acid rain. Like, so all of you are aware of it. When sulfur oxide reacts with water, it goes to sulfuric acid. Okay, so that is the constituent for the acid rain. And there are various damages that can happen because of the acid rain. Major impacts being corrosion. Different material surface corrosion can be initiated or can be promoted. Okay, and damage to the crops, plants in general. Okay, so acid rain is quite dangerous. Then primary. Oh, okay, so it basically appears by burning of the coal, where you have coal power plant. So that's the major source of formation of this sulfuric oxide. But anyways, it also comes from the vehicular emission, on-road vehicles also. Then the next one is your volatile organic compound, which is also called as VOCs. Okay, so these are organic compounds, like the name itself says, consist of carbon particles in itself, and volatile in nature. Okay, for example, you might have heard about this thing: methane, benzene, propane, and CFCs. So these are some of the elements for this volatile organic compound. There are many more. Okay, so these volatile compounds, it is found that mostly the concentration of these volatile compounds are higher in indoor compared to outdoors. Okay, because of the indoor uses of different type of, like, let's say for example, when you are using the gas stove, okay, or you are using this perfume and other deodorants, or even air conditions. Okay, so because of that, this content CFC contents seems to be higher, and even it can go up to 10 times higher than outdoor in some cases. Okay, so this is one of the study done in USA. So you should be careful to use those devices so that this emission of the volatile compounds can be reduced. Okay, the consequence or the bad effects are like eyes and respiratory tracts irritation, headache, and dizziness. All these things can happen. Okay, so you can read through. Also, sometimes these compounds can cause cancer in animals as well as in human. So quite dangerous. Then the next one is suspended particulate matters. So these are the emission from mostly from the diesel based fuel. So diesel engines, they produce the suspended particulate matter. So how this is produced? If your fuel is not completely burned, okay, so if there are some carbon particles are still left out, if the fuel is not completely burned, then you will have the suspended particles. And mostly that it comes also from the diesel engine. Instead of, if you go for petrol engine, there the fuel consumption is better than the diesel in terms of this particulate matter. Okay. Apart from that, also you can get this thing in the any of the industry setting. If wherever your fuel is not completely burnt, you'll see some of these carbon particles. Most of the constituent of this particulate matters are carbon particles. Okay, so generally we define particulate matters based on their size. Okay, so you might have seen these numbers sometime PM10, PM 2.5. So PM is particulate matter. 10 indicates the average size of the particulate. Okay, so that here 10 is basically 10 micron. Okay, so the average size of the particulate is 10 micron. So then PM 2.5, here in this case the average size of the particulate is 2.5 micron. Okay, so these are quite dangerous for your health. Mostly you can inhale them, and it can create damage to your lungs. Okay, mostly it causes the respiratory related diseases and can be carcinogenic as well. Okay, so when we are burning, so to avoid this, you need to, there are only one way to do: completely burn the fuel, and whatever the process, the combustion process is happening, it should be improved such a way that the complete burning of the fuel is ensured. Okay, so that is apart from the carbon particulate, you can also see sometimes this fire ash, like wood burning, those left out or byproducts of the wood stoves and all this thing. You may consider them as also suspended particle. Okay, but the more dangerous ones are these carbon based particles, which are released because of the incomplete combustion. Okay, the consequential effect to the climate or to the environment, these allow to form or act as a medium for the cloud formation. Okay, cloud, rain and snow, like I have highlighted here, and water condenses on top of these suspended particles. Like so you can imagine in a particular location, if you have a lot of suspended particles and suddenly rain happens, then if you are by chance you are outside, or the some of the objects are outside, like your car is parked outside, or so those will be highly dirty. Okay, so that, and they can be more reactive afterwards when it mixes with water. The chemical compounds can be more reactive afterwards. So that's why you need to be careful when or it should be it should not be released to the atmosphere, and should be controlled. Environmental consequence of air pollution, like acid rain, already we have discussed about this. So acid rain is caused when you have sulfur oxide and nitric oxide. They react with the moisture or water content. It forms sulfuric acid. Okay, so and with the help of rain, they can come down, like and can create damage to the plant, as well as some cases if it mixes with the water body, like in the lake or river areas, so it can cause damage to the natural wildlife, also fish in particular. And also it deteriorates the lifetime of the building, statues and sculpture because of the reaction, acidic reaction. Then the other effect is your greenhouse effect. So greenhouse effect, I think most of you are aware of it. So what happens if you have larger concentration of carbon dioxide, which is these days actually it is because of the lot many polluting agents. So carbon dioxide as well as this methane, and you have ozone. Okay, so these if these compounds are found in the lower atmosphere, okay, if they are found in the lower atmosphere, they are dangerous because they absorb the radiating heat from the earth's surface. Okay, like for example, if you are getting heat from the sun, some of the heat get radiated back, and some of these heats are absorbed by the these gases in the lower atmosphere. And what happens later on, they retain this heat to like quite a long time, and it increases the earth's surface gradually. Like the temperature profile is shown here over the years. You can see that how the temperature profile is increasing over the time. Okay, so this is in degree Fahrenheit. So because of this increase in the temperature, this is generally called as the greenhouse effect. Okay, so when your earth surface is getting warmer every day and every year.
Sir,
Any question? Yes.
sir, this acid rain, it only happens like just uh, like very few times, or like it's like means.
You can see this acid rain kind of thing since you're living in the industrial area. When the rainy season starts, at the beginning of the rainy season or intermittent rain, when like in the summer days, sometimes you can see if the industries, they are not taking proper care of their emission, then you can feel this thing, but if it is continuously raining over the rainy season, this might not be seen quite often. Intermittent rain can you can expect that there will be acid rain if provided the industries are not taking care of their emissions. Okay.
Okay. Uh, like just wanted to know like that what's the frequency as it happened
How you
like a number of times like or it's like quite often that we can observe it.
see the it is not like you are pouring the high concentrated acid. Okay, whatever concentration you will get, it is minimal, and that has a prolonged effect. Okay, it is it can be seen like if rain is happening once in a 3-4 days, and the suspended particles or this yeah the suspended particles or these oxides are still there in the atmosphere, you can expect that this reaction may have happened, and there could be chances of acid rain. But as I've said, it is up to the industrial settings as well as on-road vehicle pollution. Okay, so intermittent rain, you can expect that it could be acid rain, but if it is a monsoon season, then there is low chance that you can say it is acid rain. Okay,
Yeah, I was
that is
just
what.
asking for our KGP because rain happens a lot, right, in Kadagur.
In KGP area, I don't see that many vehicles, so don't worry about this place.
Okay.
Okay, so this KGP area is fine.
Oh,
Okay, so greenhouse effect. What are the effects? Like we have, there are various effects. Some of these are reduction of the biodiversity. Because of the increase in the earth temperature, you will start to see different growth rate of the plants as well as the animals are also affected. Those are environmental effect on their growth. Some cases also you see that this migrating birds, they are not visible in one particular location. Okay, so reduction of that biodiversity is reduced to means reduced a lot, I will say. For example, I don't know how many of you have seen a sparrow like in your locality. Any of you have seen?
so a long time ago.
Yes.
Recently or long time ago?
No, sir. It actually flies. It's pretty common in my area.
Oh, that's
In my
nice
area, I am not
to
able
hear.
to see any sparrows in my locality.
Yes, so actually I was when I was maybe in class 3 or 4, that time I remember I saw maybe a lot of sparrows, and in my last visit to Norway I saw a lot of sparrows in Norway. So I was very happy. Initially I thought that are these creatures extinct, like the people are telling few creatures are extinct. So I had that impression because I don't see them quite often. Like for almost 5 or 10 years I did not see them even, but there I saw, yes, there are because they are such creatures, or not only sparrows, there are many other this natural or wildlife creatures. They know which location is better to live, which is not, and they try to avoid this polluting or pollutant wherever there are a lot of concentration of the pollutant. Okay, so you don't feel good when you don't see such natural creatures, or biodiversity is reducing in a particular region. Okay, so yeah, the other effect that is also seen, rise in the sea level, which is obvious, like all of you are aware, like due to the melting of the glaciers, the sea level is going to increase. It is already increased a lot, I would say, compared to 100 years back or 200 years back. But over the next 100 years, they are expecting that it may increase by 3 foot, up to 3 foot. Okay, so a 3 foot increase or the sea level rise can cause 100 or 50 to 100 feet increase on the sea beach area. Okay, so it is also quite dangerous for those cities which are built up around the sea. Okay, so we need to work on this so that all of us can work towards reducing the global warming effect. That is the only way it can be stopped. There are other extreme weathers we are already seeing. There are many recent cyclones like Phylline, recent ones within a couple of like last 2-3 years. You have seen so many strong wind conditions, and this will continue if we don't take care of global warming effect. Health hazards. There are several diseases. We don't know whether corona can be related to global warming in some states or not, but yes, we need to be careful with other type of diseases, at least like mass growth of mosquitoes, rodents. These are promoted in when you have higher temperature. Okay, so global warming tends to help this growth of mosquitoes and rodents, which cause or spread diseases in and around. So we need to, like, these are creating additional health hazards. Okay, so further effects like stratospheric ozone depletion, like ozone in the troposphere is not helpful, but ozone in the stratosphere is quite helpful because it is stopping UV radiation that which are harmful, like particularly UVB uh, and UVAC. Both those radiations can be controlled by the ozone layer or the upper atmosphere, but UVB, which can come to the lower atmosphere, that is actually stopped by this ozone layer in the stratosphere. So due to the depletion of this ozone layer, UV radiation can reach to us and can cause various diseases, like including skin cancer and all. The other one is mercury effect, which is like you know that with our different activities we release mercury to the atmosphere, but the content is okay if we are releasing a small amount. If, because the mercury is quite poisonous, a small amount is still bearable. uh, it can be dangerous if it is released in a higher amount or higher volume, because with the interaction with water it causes methyl mercury, and that is dangerous to the fish. okay, and other animals who eat those fish. Okay, so be careful, like we have to restrict the amount of emission of the mercury. Photochemical smog, already I have discussed about this, like this is because of the reaction with nitrogen oxide with the sun. Okay, once nitrogen oxide reacts with the sun, there could be various chemical compounds that can be formed, and that creates a yellow color smog in a particular region. Okay, and you know that there are various health hazards starting from lower visibilities that can cause accident and all, and health hazard wise, eye irritation, then your respiratory disease, several things can happen. So you have to stop this thing. Human effect on the air pollution, like we have discussed on this also. Particulate matters, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, they are very harmful to the human health, particularly to the respiratory.
Excuse me, sir, I'm not feeling well. Sir,
Yes,
I'm getting.
okay, you can then take a
Sorry,
break.
sir.
Okay. So
Mama,
this particular
थोड़ा मुंडा
you can mute yourself. There are different diseases already we have seen, mostly cancer causing diseases and other type of respiratory diseases. So you can read through this. Okay. Then how do we check the air quality? So there is air quality index. We'll not go through a detailed formula of means how they calculate this air quality index, but the numbers itself is, I mean, knowing the numbers, it's good enough. So if air quality index is 0 to 100, within this, and this is a green zone, which we don't expect to see in any of the time of the year in any of the cities in India. Even I was surprised that initially I thought Kharagpur might have been in this range, but no, we expect sometimes this, maybe moderate. We feel if there is a rain, but not any time in this good air quality index 0 to 100. Okay, so you can see that these are the category, and very unhealthy 400 plus is considered to be very unhealthy, and this is commonly seen in all the metro cities throughout the year. Okay, there are other I mean, based on the other pollutant also, the numbers are generated. For ozone also, you can see here carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, PM10, PM2.5. So these are calculated over average, 8-hour average or 24-hour average, and ppb is parts per billion. Okay, what is their concentration? So these are units of concentration. Okay, then how do we slow down? I will not say how can we totally remove the air pollution, rather better word will be how to slow down this air pollution. So cut down the use of fossil fuel. If we can carpool or use I mean public transport, so that lesser number of cars are there on road, at least vehicular emission can be reduced. Then electric vehicles are the other alternatives, which are actually government of India is also promoting in terms of tax benefit if you buy electric vehicles. So cut down the fossil fuel is one of the way. Then improve the energy efficiency. Like in terms of combustion process or any of these devices that you are using, electronic or electrical devices. If it can be made energy efficient, then it will create less carbon emission to the atmosphere. Okay. Reduced deforestation and plant and trees, that like plants are quite helpful to suppress the global warming and harmful carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. They can absorb those things. Okay, so deforestation and plant more trees, that is reduce deforestation and plant more trees, that is one of the way to suppress air pollution. Slow down human population growth. Yes, if it can be achieved, then maybe the usage of all this car or the devices, deforestation, all these things can be reduced. Okay, so consequential effect can be beneficial. Okay. So there are few ways that air pollutions are measured. Mostly these days, you can have a small device, electronic device, which can give you a different proportion of the compounds. Okay, how much is the nitrogen oxide or how much carbon monoxide is generated when you go for a pollution check. Some of you might have gone with your vehicle. So in that case, you can see that the digital measurement itself is sufficient to give you information about this pollutant. So apart from that, I'm just going to discuss 2 or 3 devices which were previously used to monitor the sulfur dioxide. So in this case, this is called ultraviolet fluorescence analyzer. So you intake some amount of air and using a UV lamp, you illuminate or irradiate this SO2 here, and it goes to a higher energy state. Afterwards, you need to bring it down to the same energy state. Okay, so there will be some form of emission. So based on this emission of the photons, okay, so you can actually use a photomultiplier tube and to see the intensity of this emission due to this back reaction. And from that, you can calculate what is the concentration of the SO2 in that particular region. Okay, so that is one of the way to measure SO2 concentration. I think you can read through for more details in this one. And similarly, there is chemiluminescence analyzer for NOx, okay, nitrogen oxide. So the principle remains the more or less same. Here you try to radiate the nitrogen oxide and react that with the ozone, okay, and you allow a UV radiation to fall on it. Okay, so basically you have clean air intake where you create ozone, and you have a sample which you want to measure what is the concentration of nitrogen oxide. Okay, so both you can combine in this particular chamber and heat them with UV radiation. So what you will see that it will form nitrogen oxide will form NO2 and oxygen will come out. So during this reaction, there will be some photon generation. Okay, so that you can capture through a photomultiplier tube and see the constant based on the intensity. You can actually judge what is the amount of air pollutant. In this case, NOx is there in the sample. So that is what it is mentioned here. Okay, so I think this is all about the air pollution. So next class, tomorrow we will start the dispersion of the air pollution. So which is what we are looking for in this particular course or in this particular chapter. Okay. Okay, so let me take the attendance. Any question? Okay.